Right, so the story of Atlantic Yards began a decade ago, and I think in some ways it speaks to the business that we're all in, hopelessly devoted to long-term value creation with large-scale development. And I think, in fact, the dominant players in this space are probably all up on this podium, maybe with the exception of one. And so it isn't for everyone, and I think in some ways it's this business of having at once an incredible sense of urgency and at the same time a spirit of persistence and patience at the same time, because it takes quite a bit of time and energy to get the job done. And so Atlantic Yards began with a vision and aspiration of bringing professional sports back to the borough of Brooklyn on a site that was 22 acres and really represented a scar separating the north and south parts of the downtown Brooklyn area. It is not easy to assemble that kind of critical mass in a place like New York, and so we endured not only a great recession, but 35 lawsuits and a long-term program of putting together, building by building, a master plan with Frank Gehry for 6,430 units of housing, of which 2,250 are affordable, perhaps one of the most ambitious affordable and low-income housing projects to be developed in the current modern day in New York City. The building centerpiece is, of course, the Barclays Center, and it's a $1 billion arena. And after that, it's really hotel and housing. Today, where we are, 10 years later, is that we have welcomed over 2 million visitors to the Barclays Center. It is the top performing arena in the country, second in the world. It has an incredible buzz, and I think it's brought the spotlight to Brooklyn, where I think maybe for us it's always been, since Brooklyn's our front yard, our backyard, and our side yard. But for many now, discovering Brooklyn, the Barclays Center has been a great asset and really an instant icon for not just the borough, but for the city. At the same time, we were always committed to the housing and the jobs, not just the roofs. And so looking at the pipeline, 15 buildings, we realized that we could do something extraordinary with the housing. We could build, perhaps in a modern way, a different type of building. And so we started about 3 years ago looking at a modern means of construction through modular. And for those of us in the room that focus on real estate, we know that modular has been around since Frank Lloyd Wright and Buckminster Fuller in terms of how to build beautiful things with high quality control. What's never been done is modular in high-rise format in an urban environment. And so we spent about $10 million looking to put a building together that might be built over 50% off-site in a factory. And so I'll talk about the details a little more during the question and answer session, but today, adjacent to the arena on the south side of the site, the tallest modular building in the world is rising. We call it B2, it's 32 stories, and 60% of that building is being built 3 miles away in the Brooklyn Navy Yard. And so with the advent of that building, the hope is that we embark upon a new way of building. It's really process innovation, not product innovation. And from there, we intend to build hopefully 15 buildings in that way. It's been a breakthrough in an industry that doesn't, frankly, innovate that much. So we're proud of it, but we're still very much in the early stages. And then finally, for us, with $500 million in the dirt and not a single vertical building to show for it until December of last year, we're all about activating the pipeline. And so the $1 billion arena aside, we're about the housing. And so for me, leading the company with Bruce Ratner, we will focus on putting the housing up as expeditiously as the market will allow.
So let me just add